And welcome to another exciting video. In this one, we'll see how we can make dynamic forms with React. Often, it can be useful to know what the user's input is as they are typing it, and use that information to change what is rendered. This can be good for dynamic search or filter inputs or triggering changes when a user checks a checkbox or a myriad of other use cases. In this example, we are going to dynamically show an error message if the user types something invalid, so they don't have to wait until they submit the form to know they are doing something wrong. To do this, we will store the input's value in state and then use that state to derive an error message which will be displayed if there is an error. Now let's say that this username form cannot have uppercase characters. They can only have lowercase characters, something like this. We will show the user an error when they hit the submit button, but it would be a lot better user experience if we display an error message as they are making changes to this input field, if they change it to something that's not allowed. We need to know what the user is typing as they are typing it, not just as they submit it. So over here, what we'll do is, for the input, we'll be adding an onChange handler. And here, we'll be calling a function called handleChange. And this will capture the event, and then within this, we will be capturing what user has typed. And we know that if I write event.target, we are actually pointing to this input field. And we can store this value in a variable. But remember, when user will keep on typing, it's going to change, and we need to preserve that value somewhere. That's where we'll make use of state. So here, first thing that we do is we create username as state. So over here in our form, first of all, let's get rid of this username input ref from the previous one. Over here, what we do is we create a const username and set username. We make use of react.userstate, initialize username with an empty string, and once that's done, we use set username in our handleChange event, and we pass event.target over here. Now this is going to set the value of the username variable. So what we do is we get rid of this particular statement from our handle submit event, and username is now pointing to this username. Next, let's go ahead and determine whether this is lowercase by saying username equals username dot to lowercase. So over here, we'll have this const, and this is going to compare whether the typed value of username by the user is in lowercase or not, and accordingly, it will return true or false. Using this is lowercase, we will be ensuring whether we need to show the error or not. And for that, we'll be making use of another const over here. And we'll say error equals is lowercase. If it is lowercase, then we won't have any error. So we are setting it as null. Otherwise, we'll say username must be lowercase. So here we have our error now. Now using this error, we'll be showing the error message. Now in order to show the error message, we'll be creating a div, and within this div, we will be showing the error message. Now in order to show error message, we'll just have it inside curly brackets. So we'll say error, and in order to show it with some color, we'll add a style to it. So we'll say style, and within this, we'll have the color mentioned for this, and usually errors are shown in red color, so we'll have it in red. Now if I go here and let's say I type something like this, you'll notice that it says username must be lowercase. Over here in the handleChange event, do ensure that you have typed it correctly, event.target.value. Earlier I had just event.target, and that was not getting the actual value that was being entered. So you might encounter some error if you just put event.target under set username. So do ensure that you don't have that typo. Now over here, if I go back and type everything in small, you don't see that error coming up. And if I do it in this way, you get the error message coming up as username must be lowercase. Now, one further addition that we can make to this is like disable the submit button if the error is there. And to do that, we just make use of the boolean variable, and here under button we will add an attribute called disabled, and this basically takes a boolean value. So here what we can do is we'll make use of the boolean function, and within this we'll be passing the error over here. So this is going to either return a falsy or a truthy value depending on the error value that we will have over here. Now, if there is an error, then it is going to disable the submit button. And if there's no error, then we'll have our submit button and we can click on that. So here, let's go ahead and first of all, try it out with some error. And there you go. You can see how the submit button is disabled. Now let's go and try providing the correct input, and we have our button enabled. So that way you will be able to play with the form elements based on certain conditions